Yes, here on Radio FM on African Culture Guide with yours and only host, Queen Victoria. We'll be talking about where does the name that you call the white person, or the people that call themselves white, and what is that name that you call? Like I said before, there's some who call them Oyinbo, there are some who call them Mzungu. I've had someone sending me a message saying that they also call them Taubab. There are also someone who is saying that they call them Makora, yeah, something like that, or Lekoa. And there's also somebody saying they call them, some names that they call them colonizers. Anyway, there's a lot of people. Now, let's go thinking about what do those people, where did that name come from? Now, let's go back to my country. In my country, especially Kenya, that is where I come from, and Tanzania, we call them Mzungu. And the word Mzungu, there's a name that there's where it comes from, okay? So why they were called Mzungu is because, first of all, when they came and landed on the coastal region of Kenya, you know, the Mombasa, that part, the Tanzania, Mombasa part, they used to come and, you know, they love touring and looking around and just looking around and always turning every stone upside down. Like every time they would go, they would take something and just and turn everything up and down. Or they just go around, looking around and trying to find where is this stone not square but circle? Why is it that it is looking like a pyramid but not triangle, you know? So they were always keeping themselves busy, and they were always loitering around. Now in Swahili, loitering around, it's called kuzunguka. You know, it's called kuzunguka, like moving from one place. And now, not only kuzungukaing, the thing is, when they were trying to look all these stones. Of course, it's not one day, it's not 2 days, it's not 3 days. They would go like a couple of months on the same place, just trying to find out about that place, trying to get to find out that place, why it is like that, okay? So and now the way they were loitering the same place for a couple of months or couple of days, it's called kuzunguka. Unazunguka mahali pamoja. You know, you're trying to zunguka, and that's where the human being now trying to put the ngeli. I don't know if you all know about. I don't know his adjective, or I don't know what we called it, but the way when you put someone in something, you say an M. You have to put an M before that doing word, okay? So kama ni ukorofi, you say mkorofi. If it's nijinga, you say mjinga. If something like if you say like werevu, if you're referring to a person, you put an M in front, mwerevu. You know, if you're trying to put, any word that are doing a verb, if you want to put in a person, you say, you put it as, you put an M, okay? So it's mujinga, jinga, you say mujinga. Werevu, you put mwerevu. If any word that you know of Swahili, a doing word, know that whenever you refer to a person, you put an M. Now, let's go to the word Mzungu. So, the word came from Mzungukaji. Like I said before, the word kuzunguka means loitering. And these people used to come and loiter at the same place. You know, you're just going around the same place, around and round and round. So it's called kuzunguka, Mzungukaji. So, okay, so they were called Mzungukaji, but since people did not have time to give them all that much air, so they shortified it and said Mzungu. Okay, it's Mzungu. Okay, Mzungu. That's where it's actually naming Mzungukaji, but they shortified it and said Mzungu. That's where the word Mzungu came from, actually referring to the people who refer themselves as white people. Now, let's go back to your country. What do you call your name? Thank you so much for those who have been commenting. Actually, I've had somebody who is writing here. Somebody is going against it and saying, no, Mzungu comes from the word Kizungu, which means English. Actually, no. I think we call English, since it's from the Waingereza, we call English Kingereza. So it's not at the word Kizungu comes from English. It comes from Kingereza. Kingereza, it's English. And Mwingereza is an English person, which actually for us who are colonized by the British, we refer the Mwingereza, or we refer British Mwingereza. Okay? So no, it's not the word Kizungu. Now there's somebody who has actually here commented saying that there is the word Oyinbo. Oyinbo, they put it as Oyinbo. Thank you so much for commenting. The word Oyinbo, particularly, the origin came from a slave trade where Portuguese traders had a high demand and would pay higher prices for slaves from the Igbo people. Now, Igbo is a tribe in Nigeria. Okay, so, and of course, the people who refer themselves as white, they are not able to pronounce some words in English. So like Igbo, you'd say Igbo. Okay? So instead of saying Igbo, the Nigerians say Igbo. But for people who refer themselves as white, they cannot pronounce that name. So they say Yibo. Okay? So now when I go further and reading it, is this the tribe, because they considered them to be the strongest. Of course, the Igbo people are the very strongest. By the way, Cindy, for those who are watching and listening, the Nigerians people, the Igbo people, these people are giants and they are strong. And by the way, they're the most ridiculously talented people that I have met in Nigeria. Yeah, maybe in future something else is going to prove me wrong, but these are the most talented people. So yes, so now going back to the Igbo, so they would pay higher prices for the slaves from the Igbo tribe because they consider them to be strongest and most industrious among the slaves from Nigeria at that time. So the Portuguese traders would ask the slave merchants, Onye Igbo. So, of course, which is mispronounced as Oyinbo. Okay? So, which means the Igbo person. Onye Igbo, I guess for any Nigerians in the house. Any Nigerians in the house telling me Oyinbo? Yeah? It means it's Onye Igbo is a person. Onye Igbo. Igbo person. So that's why they used to prefer as Igbo person. Now, instead of saying Igbo, like, the white person came from mispronouncing that name, say Yibo, instead of Igbo. Okay, so that's where now these people, the Igbo people started calling them Oyinbo. Okay, so that's where the Igbo person. Now, there's also somebody saying that us from our Kanda, we call them colonizers. It's okay. It's all right. However you call them, at the end of the day, they will always call us however they call us. They will always call us however they want to call us. However way. So it's okay. Now, the Wakanda, yeah, okay, sawa, we have already had it. And somebody is saying that the Maori, I don't know how that's it's a tribe in New Zealand, and they say we are Maori indigenous to New Zealand, and white people are referred as Peka. Somebody please come and correct me if I'm pronouncing that name wrong. Yes, this means someone of a different smell, a different spirit. Right. Africans, we are very spiritual. That's why we go doing that. We are we recognize people by spirits, by the way. So yes, Pekaha is also referred to a white person, meaning a person with a different smell and a different spirit. Now, I can see somebody who is somebody. is calling, we call them Jacob. I don't know where that tribe is, which means enemy. I don't know where that is. So it's good if you just say, who is we? We call them Jacob. So, and yes. And I can see somebody is saying in Rwanda, white person is called Mzungu. In plural, white people are called Wazungu in Rwanda. But what does it mean? For us, I just told you where that name is derived from in Swahili, and especially the Swahili in Kenya and Tanzania. So you can go ahead and tell us where that name come from, especially for the people who come from Rwanda. And then there's something in Choctaw, Native American culture. They are referred as Nahulu, originally used to describe a type of sea creatures with white scales, with an appetite for human flesh. The name was given to them because my people first saw them coming from waters. Oh my goodness, that is something and that actually, those are people from, we are Native Americans. You call them Nahulu, yeah, just because they come from water. But when they went to take the land, they actually appeared from water. But that is real though. That's why. Wait. Okay. So in Twi, we say Obroni, which comes from Abronipa, which means wicked person. In Ga, we say Blofoni, which means executional or executioner. Who? The person who executes. Okay. All right. In Ewe, we say Ayevu, which means tricky dog. Oh my goodness. And in Frafra, we say Solmia, which means evil person. Yo, people who refer yourself as white people, if I was you people, if I was you, I will just change my ways. Now look at all these people from Africa, the way they have actually seen you as the most dangerous people. Like, wow. Okay, so thank you so much for those who are commenting. Where and so in Mzungu, there's somebody saying, hey, Mzungu also means something like a spiritual ghost. When white person entered the continent and were capturing slaves, those who managed to escape from the capture, they told the village people what they saw and how they look like, because they never seen a white person. So they described this as Mzungu, or ghost spiritual evil, that they had never seen. The village educate the villagers to be careful, especially in the forest or when going to the farm, as this so-called Mzungu spirits is capturing people to unknown reasons. Many thought was for sacrifice. Well, these people. Yay. Yes, I just want to say thank you so much for those who are commenting and complimenting us. For those who have been criticizing us, thank you so much. Through that, we grow. And today on the African Culture Guide, we are talking about where does the word, how do we refer the people who refer themselves as white people? How do you call them? Like, I've been telling you how I mentioned before why we call them Mzungu. The other one just told us why they call themselves Oyinbo. The other one Pakola. The other one Mzungu. The other one, they call them all those evil spirits. They go Mundele in Kikongo and Lingala. Yes, as in we've had so many names, and there's always a reason as to why we call. The thing is about Africans, we name things with a reason, and most probably is all about a spiritual thing. And what do you think about those names? And if it's you who is watching us, may it be on TikTok, may it be on Facebook Radio, may it be on Instagram, may it be on YouTube, how do you refer the person who refer themselves, or the people who refer themselves as white people? How do you call them? And where does that name come from? This is Radio RFM, home of African music.